world. It's your girl, Coach Christal, and welcome to another episode of People on Purpose. If you're just joining us, this is a podcast where I get to talk to people who not only live a life of purpose, who have made a decision to live on purpose every day. And if you're just joining us, this is the Steps and Stages community, and we always start with the same mantra that says a lot of things happen before this, and I guarantee a lot of things are going to happen after this, but I promise to be here with you now. Please be here with us now. If you have ever thought about taking a leap, if you've ever thought about I'm too young or I'm too old to do something, if you've ever thought about what am I supposed to be doing now because I've already done all the things I'm supposed to do, then today's episode is probably going to really hit home for you. I'm talking to award-winning podcast host Tricia Rose Burt today, and not only is she a brilliant mind, she's a Southern girl like me. So just be prepared for some translation. If you have questions, always drop them in the chat. And if you can't hear what we say, because at some point the cackling just gets so deep into our Southern drawl, you need a translator, go ahead and throw your hands up. There's going to be all kinds of comments coming in on all different platforms. No matter where you're watching, we can see what you say. So come on in, get ready, and help me welcome Tricia Rose Burt. Tricia!
Christal, oh my word, I'm just so tickled to be here.
Honey, tickled. See, we're already in it. Some people don't even know what tickled mean, honey. Tricia, you have had an amazing career. You've had an amazing life. You have an amazing podcast of your own. Tell us a little bit about how you would introduce yourself at this stage of your life.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's such a tricky question. I should be better at it than I am. What I try to do, what I do is help people be more brave. And I do that really working with story.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I find, just based on my own experience, those times when I was too scared to do things, and you just have to surround yourself with people who will encourage you to move forward. And you just have to, for me, my big lesson was the riskiest thing I can do is play it safe. I did everything I was supposed to do, to a T.
Yeah.
And life just blew up. And I was like, why am I playing it safe? Because that's not working. And so that's really what I try to talk to people about, is what you think might be safe is actually just the riskiest thing you can do.
Yeah, that's amazing, because we talk about safety as an illusion, right? And I often tell people, if anything was going to kill that illusion, it was COVID. Like, it didn't matter what color you were, how old you were, how much money you had. Like, your life was still in jeopardy because of something you couldn't see, didn't know, right? And we had no real information about. So this idea of safety as an illusion can just be the same way that we look at success as an illusion. How do you feel about these, illusions that we prop up?
Well, I had, and I need to reach out to this priest, because he has no idea how a comment he made to me 30 years ago has shaped my life.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle of trying to make a decision about whether or not I should move to Ireland. I had, I was in Boston at the time. I had a very high paying job. I had created a life that required a high paying job that I no longer wanted anymore. I was so miserable, and I had gone to art school and realized, whoops, I'm an artist. Then no wonder life has been so, that's something to find out in your mid 30s. Right.
Yeah.
And so I was really in this big crisis, which felt like, safety versus just, what are you doing? Like, too much of a risk.
Yeah.
And he said to me, Tricia, everyone will tell you the cost of going, and no one will tell you the cost of staying. And I was like, oh, and staying, like, with what is that illusion. I know this, I'm safe. It feels right. But it isn't, that's not necessarily where the safety lies. The safety may lie in taking that risk. And, for me, I've just figured out that I need to feel secure in myself, because everything's going to be flying around me all the time.
Yeah.
There's not everything outside. There's not like, oh, good, I'm going to feel safe when I have this amount of money. I'm going to feel safe when I have this amount of, I can lift this amount of weights.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel safe when none of that yay, might provide you some comfort and some options. Doesn't necessarily provide you with security.
Yeah.
And I think, my father declared bankruptcy when I was in high school, and I was like, oh, wow, that money just comes and goes. And so, so I'm keenly aware of what money what it provides. And I'd like to have some cash. Thank you.
Yeah.
But also, so many other things have to be like, that's just one part of a puzzle that makes a life.
Exactly. Yeah. You brought up a word comfort, which I think comfort is the cancer that kills your courage.
It absolutely, absolutely.
But we're taught to aspire to a level of comfort. We're taught to get the good job so you can pay the bills and get the nice house so you don't have to be uncomfortable. Again, we see these celebrities right now with mansions who are really like cities. They're like enclaves, so they don't have to go outside.
Right? Like cities. Yes, I do. I know.
A lot of times we're putting barriers between ourselves and the world so that we don't have to be tested in our own convictions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that part is where the comfort gets a little dangerous.
I think you're really right. And also excuse me for stepping on you a little bit, but
please.
The other thing I've been thinking about, because I live in the woods in New Hampshire. I never thought I would end up in the woods in New Hampshire.
I never thought I'd end up in Vermont. I don't live in the woods, but still.
I mean, how did this happen? But at any rate, I've had this love-hate relationship with New Hampshire for a while, and we've lived here for over 25 years. So you think I'd figured this out, but I've now, what used to drive me crazy, the simplicity of my life, is now something like, oh,
thank God,
this is actually a good thing, because my energy can be focused on relationships, and my creative work. And, that's an okay thing.
It is. And I think what happens is most people don't understand how hard it is to live a simple life. Right? Because of the illusions you have to give up.
Yes.
Right. When I tell my girlfriends that there's one place to shop in my town, they're like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, I save a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, I really actually don't need it. It's no longer, retail therapy no longer serves me.
So, so I have this podcast called No Time to Be Timid, which is great. Please, if you haven't listened, there's some really, I think your audience would like it, since this is what we talk about. And I talk, often I talk about people who were in one life and then went, whoops, this isn't the right one for me, and go in a different direction. And one of them was an author named S.C. Perot. She wrote a book called Styles of Joy.
Okay.
And she was a corporate lawyer, and then COVID happened and she couldn't go to the office anymore. It was a very funny conversation. And she hated her work. She began to hate her work. And a friend of hers said, well, do you like to write contracts? And she was like, I hate it. She goes, I got news for you. That's what your work is about. Yeah. But what she liked was going to the office and being with all these people. She didn't like writing contracts. She didn't like being a corporate lawyer. She liked being in community, right? So for COVID, for her, just, so she ended up doing, she left her job. She ended up going through a divorce, all this kind of stuff. And she found her way back through a whole lot of grief, going to over 17 Harry Styles concerts in 10 months. She didn't even know who the guy was, but she was really depressed. High energy music. Anyway, the point is, while she was gone, her dream house was being built. It was being fully furnished, all this stuff. She was overseas seeing a Harry Styles concert. She comes back. She was supposed to be gone for 5 days. She was gone for a month, living off of what was in her carry-on suitcase for 30 days. She goes into this fully furnished house, dream house that she's been waiting to build. She goes out in the driveway, calls her realtor and says, sell it with everything inside. Because she was like, I don't need all of that stuff.
Right.
She was like, guess what? You just don't need a lot of stuff to have a good life. And this was the dream house, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
I know.
She goes, I did just fine with a suitcase, that for 5 days, for a month.
Yeah.
So anyway, didn't mean to go on that tangent, but I've always loved that story of her going, nope, I don't want to live that way.
No, it reminds us, about the idea of the life we want to live is one thing. then we get it. And then we're like, is this what we really want? But like you're saying, most people are afraid to shift and try something else. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about the No Time to Be Timid manifesto in the back. Like what that, because I felt like, I've read it and I just feel like the manifesto itself is an instruction manual for testing the life you have if you want to build a life you love.
Oh, isn't that interesting? So I did a one-woman show. Mm-hmm. And everyone was telling me, oh, that should be a book. I'm like, okay, I'll just write a book.
Yeah.
As if it was an easy thing to do. And so
as if people read.
Pardon me?
As if people read.
Yeah, there's that too. That's a whole other conversation we could have. Yeah. But anyway, so I worked, for years trying to write this memoir. And I was in a bookstore, Parnassus bookstore in Nashville one day, and I saw there was some book title and some of the manifesto. Mm-hmm. And I was like, am I supposed to be writing a memoir or a manifesto? Mm. And then I was like, what is a manifesto? And then, and I was also thinking at the same time, I really want to read about Joan of Arc. I never read about Joan of Arc, but it kept in my head saying you need to read about Joan of Arc.
Okay.
And so anyway, my memoir doesn't get picked up. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? All this anyway. I ended up working with this creative coach, and he was like, Tricia, in your wildest dreams, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I have this big personality. I talk about creativity all the time and how it's changed my life. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what I'm saying, but I think I'm supposed to write some kind of movement. Launch some kind of movement. And he said, well, okay, well, I think what you need to do is read a book about someone who started a movement. I think you ought to read about Joan of Arc. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And then he goes, while you're at it, I think you need to write a manifesto. I'm like, what? I'm like, are you kidding me? So I wrote this manifesto, and it was really advice I had been given over the years. I just sort of looked at what people had said to me to encourage me, experiences I'd had, the challenges that I kept running into. And I wrote it all down, and I ran it past people and said, what do you think about this? And this? And I, to be honest with you, it's hard for me that it's printed because I keep thinking of things, that I could add or tweak or do. Yeah. There are 10 principles. I have a lot of friends in recovery, and they're like, it should be 12 steps, Tricia. Anyway. But so I, and I am often reminded by people when I'm being timid about something, or, they're like, so this lady, she wrote this manifesto. I'm like, shut up. So I have to read it myself quite a bit, but it is instructions. It's more like guidelines. It's more, like courage, and there's courage in community, right? If you try to do something on your own, you can, but it's a lot easier if you have pilgrims on the journey, whatever it is, whatever it is. There's one, constraints or opportunities. When I was, we can often look and go, I don't have it. I don't have, and just get in the scarcity mindset. I don't have enough of this and that, whatever. And I had a wonderful art teacher one time named Rhoda Rosenberg, and she said, you'll never have enough time, enough space, or enough money. Get over it. But for a long time, when I was living in Ireland, I didn't have any money for anything. So I did work with used tea bags because they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And now some of those works are in corporate collections, right? I was like, I didn't have any money. So what can I do? I used office materials, and, so those constraints, sometimes a blank check and a lot of time is the worst thing we could ever have.
Oh yeah.
You got to have something to bump up against.
Yeah. Forgive me, I might be saying it wrong. It's like the Parkinson's principle, like the longer it takes, like the longer time you have, the longer it'll take you.
Yeah. And so Twyla Tharp writes about that in her book, The Creative Habit. Oh, yeah. The worst piece she ever did was because she had unlimited money and unlimited time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the best pieces she did is she had no money in 2 weeks to put it on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
think we think about abundance in time as if it's an opportunity, but a lot of times it really is one of those things that just continues to let you kick the can down the road
over
decisions
and over. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's where, and another principle in there, one is creativity is not a frivolous pursuit. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, it was logic, analysis. Those were, and somehow creativity was a secondary skill or inferior skill.
Yeah.
And there's mostly, I think this is an antidote. The manifesto is an antidote to a cruddy mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's an antidote to the mindset that says, I can't.
Right.
And one of the things, I mean, in my coaching that I do and in my podcast, I want to be the voice in your head that says you can.
Right.
That's kind of the goal, is the one that says just blow off all those other people and listen to yourself, because it's not like society's out there going, take a risk.
No.
What do you do and how much money do you have?
Yeah.
They're not saying, what are you working on? What adventure are you about to undertake?
Yeah. I mean, it's the age-old question. I worked with youth for years, and I said, I know people continue to ask you, what do you want to be? What do you want to do when you grow up? But I'm going to ask you who you want to be, because you could be an amazing, rich surgeon and be a crappy person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, let's be honest. Like, who do you want to be? And that's the same thing that we're talking about in, this vision work and this overcoming timidity, this idea that you can be whatever you want to be, but you have to believe it first. You can't wait on other people's permission to coach.
No, you cannot, because they're not going to give it to you. I mean, when I moved to Ireland, in 1 week, this was, in my mid-30s, in 1 week, I quit my job, sold my car, divorced my husband. That was not a whim. We had been in, it's not like I went, I don't want you anymore. I mean, there's been it just all came together.
Yeah.
Quit my job, sold my car, divorced my husband, cashed up my retirement savings, and moved to Ireland. And everyone thought I was crazy. And they would say to me, Tricia, the fear is, and the fear is, and the fear is. I'm like, those are your fears. I am getting internal marching orders that if I ignore these, I ignore this at my peril.
Yes.
I ignore this at my peril. It made no sense on paper. And I don't recommend everyone do this in their life. Like
everyone doesn't have that amount of connection to their own intuition.
Yeah. It saved my soul. Financially, it was not the wisest decision in the world, but it saved my soul. I found my, the man I had, as I always say, practice marriage, and went over to Ireland and ended up finding the right person, but if I had listened to everybody else's fears, I would be miserable. And so I just knew what I needed to do. It didn't seem like it made any sense, but it made total sense to me. It was, my body was giving it a one big, yes, this is what you need to do. And it was very radical. And again, I don't recommend everybody do this. You can do more subtle changes to get creativity in your life, or it can be a little more subtle. But for me, it was like, if I don't get out of here now, I got to get out of here now.
Oh yeah. And I think you brought up something really important, listening to your body. But Tricia, you're echoing one of the mantras of our community and of our practice, which is in the Gnostic Gospels, where the Book of Thomas says, if you bring forth the thing that is within you, it will save you. But if you don't bring forth the thing that is within you, it will kill you.
No kidding. No kidding.
Holding that thing back, trying to create that barrier of letting your real self free is cancerous.
It is.
It really continues to break you down.
When I worked at a financial services firm, I was getting paid a fire hose of cash. I was also billing my time in 15-minute increments. And I just didn't care what I just did, And so I really traded creative freedom for financial security.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have gone, I hate that I made that trade, but most of the time, and it's come full circle, because what I do now is I teach storytelling, because I feel just as comfortable in a boardroom as I do in a green room. And there's not, you're one of those people who can do that same thing. There's not a lot of us that fit in that Venn diagram.
Right.
And so I am now teaching. I've been working with private equity firms. I've been working with because I know what they need to do. I know what they need to accomplish from a business standpoint, because I understand business. I really like business. It's exciting to me to see people who can grow things and make things and all that stuff. But half of them just don't know how to talk to people.
Right.
And they also don't understand that data is not, data wrapped in a story is 22 times more memorable.
Yes.
And so I'm blending the things that come very naturally to me, story, and why people listen to story, and moving people to action.
Yeah.
That's not their zone of genius. It's not what they do.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny that, all these years later, I'm back in a business context and really comfortable there. And I like doing the work there too.
Yeah.
But I just was like, I don't want to be miserable.
No.
I want to have a rich life where I make some kind of impact.
Yeah.
Doing the work I feel like I was called to do.
Exactly. I think it's important, Tricia, because you and I were talking a little bit off air before about generational thinking, right? What women were offered, what women are capable of, what women then kind of take on as their roles or their responsibilities in the lives of others or just in society. And I think as much as we believe that narrative is shifting, there's still the parenting that keeps it in place.
Yes.
Right. I was talking to my fiance the other day and I was like, my mother used to tell me things like young women are to be seen and not heard.
Yep.
Right. And right. That was a real thing.
I was raised never to draw attention to myself.
Right.
Never. A young lady does not draw attention to themselves.
And so then you get to people like us who have these specific gifts, also being raised in the context of the South, right?
Yes.
And having these specific gifts inside of a female body that require louder voices and bigger audiences, and me kind of adapting that to being a professional dancer for 30 years and being able to quiet the person and like really let my heart talk beyond the stage and connect with people was like the most amazing thing. And it's one of those skills that you're talking about that kind of comes full circle. So now when I walk into any room, I'm like, oh yeah, hello everybody.
Right? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally about taking up space. And I was told my whole life that I had this big personality.
Yeah.
And it was not an asset. It was a liability.
Right.
It was like, oh God, she just has that big personality.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so when I was 48 years old, I was actually reading the scripture on Sunday at church. And people would come up and go, oh, you really need to do books on tape, and you really need to this, whatever. And I was thinking, I'm kind of getting a little bit more out of reading these scripture than I probably should, because I've got an audience, right? And I finally was just like, somebody's got to draw attention to themselves, and it might as well be me. So I sort of stepped into doing this one woman show, right? But I was still, Christal, before I get on stage, I would feel like you're a bad person. You're a bad person. And I would go on stage, I'd do this one woman show and people would clap and I'd run the hell off the stage because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm going to get struck any minute now. It was really hard. And then I did a lot of work with the Moth in my 50s, which was great. And they had asked me to come down and tell a story at the Somerville Theater. And I was pacing before the show, thinking, again, I'm a bad person to do this. And somebody had just told me, a couple months before, that I had that big personality and it was not a good thing. And I was really struggling. And the director of the show comes up to me. She goes, Tricia, we'd like for you to open the show. Now we know that's a big ask, but you have that big personality, and we know you can fill up the space. And I was like anointed. I was at that moment anointed and set free.
Yes.
I'm like, get out of my way.
Yep.
I'm taking up space.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, when people would say, I have a big personality, I'm like, well, yours is too small. Like, I know I need to put a governor on this thing. I got to be careful with it, Yeah. But it was like, who am I hanging around? Right. I need to hang around the tribe of people who see my gifts and go to it.
Yes.
Go to it.
Yes.
Not the people who say get smaller.
Yes, that's very true. And what I think people miss out on is the invitation into other rooms.
Yes.
Because
yes.
They see that they actually don't match the circle that they're in, they get invited into other rooms and they go, oh, well, they make more money than me, or they're already there, or they know more, right? Like they don't give themselves permission to step into those rooms and allow the fullness of who they are to show up in a way that is accepted and then actually cultivated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and I will say, there are relationships I have had to let go of.
Yeah.
There are losses that come with stepping into who you are.
Yes.
But the gains far outweigh it.
Exactly.
And that's what you kind of just have to go, what I just wasn't willing to abandon myself anymore.
Yeah.
Just so I could fit in someplace else.
Yeah.
And, relationships have had to evolve. Some did, some didn't.
Yeah.
My family kind of knows what I do for a living now, but not really.
Never. My family has never.
I mean, it's like, I mean, they're like, I think I get it. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And, but hey, and I will tell you, this is so crazy. Did you watch any of the World Cup?
A little bit.
Okay. Do you know about Cape Verde? They were this small, tiny African island that has a population of less than 500,000 people that almost beat Argentina, which is the world champion. I mean, it was a game. It was epic. I don't even watch soccer that much. I was screaming at the TV set. It was just like the underdog. It was so fabulous.
Yeah.
And so there's been a lot of discussion, like, how did they pull this off? How did they do the kind of things that they did? And it's because they had the mindset that they belonged on that stage as an exact equal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's incredible.
Yes.
To have that mindset of not, we're a little island nation and they're better than we are. They're like, get out of our way. We are playing on this at the same level. It was a self-belief that was really incredible and very inspiring. Very inspiring.
I can get it, because circumstances, situations, and conditions often are the container by which we gauge if we can even participate, right?
Yes.
I don't have the right clothes. I don't have the right hair. I don't live in the right neighborhood. I don't drive the right car. I don't have the right degree. I don't have the right certification. They don't know me. I'm a woman. Like, all these things often keep us from even trying. So it is definitely a mindset where they were like, the game is going to be the level, the level playing field is going to be the game, and we play the game.
And it was unbelievable. And then I had this other woman who was a guest on my podcast. Her name is Devin Finnegan. She runs a restaurant in Maine called Aragosta. It just got named #1 hotel restaurant by Food and Wine.
Wow.
She never went to culinary school. And she would go and end up convincing these like Michelin star chefs, here's what I can bring to the table.
Yeah.
And she's from Maine, where it's the land of organic farming and amazing shellfish and everything else that goes. And so she would say, this is what I know. This is what I can tell you how to do. And they'd bring her on board. And so she would just learn. I mean, it's remarkable what she's accomplished. Yeah. And she never went to culinary school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? Hell yeah. Sorry. Heck yeah. Let's go.
It also goes to relational capital, right?
Yeah.
When you know your gift, you know how it can actually enhance another person's gift, and it doesn't feel like competition. It's relational integration, right? And then that makes all boats rise.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But you got to know your gift first.
Well, and I'm really good I now say, here is my superpower. My superpower is being able to find the story in anything. My superpower is taking a very complex concept and making it simple that anybody can understand.
Yeah.
And so, I used to be like, well, I'm kind of good at, and I might be able, and I'm like, look, this is what I can do. Yeah. This is how I can help you. I normally say to my clients, do you want the high flame or the low flame? I mean, like, what do you want here?
Right.
High flame goes a lot quicker, than making sure all,
Yes.
So, but you know what though, Christal, it just comes with repetition.
Yes.
It comes with just doing it over and over and putting yourself, people are always like, how do you get your guests for your podcast? I'm like, I will ask anybody to be on my podcast. Like, all they can say is no. I'm like, I don't like. And most everybody says yes, you know, and it's just, plus you need to be on my podcast. Sorry.
Done.
there's an invite in the middle of another podcast,
Right, it's okay.
but because you have the dancing thing, and I haven't had a dancer on the show before. I would love to have a dancer on the show. It would just be great.
Let's do it.
But you know, you just becoming, let's just say this, I'm scared a lot, but I don't let it drive the car.
Yes. Oh my God, Tricia. Okay, you're saying like we're obviously on the same wavelength, but you're saying exactly what I say to clients. I go, listen, fear is helpful. Fear and excitement are cousins. You just be at the which side of the family you want to be on. And fear needs to be in the car with you, because fear is good at being like, don't hit that tree. Right. But you got to put fear in the back seat. Fear can't be up there fooling with the radio, telling you what frequency to be on. And if fear is too loud in the back seat, tie him up and put him in the trunk like a spare. And when you need him, go get him.
Yeah. I think it was Anne Lamott who has a whole, or who was it? No, Elizabeth Gilbert has a whole thing about fear being in the car. It's really, really good. And it's, you know, it's funny. I just did a TED Talk. It was the first time in 10 years I'd been on stage off book. I've been on stage bossing people around. I've been on stage, you know, with the script. I've been on stage doing facilitation workshops and things, but I hadn't been on stage off book. Yeah. I was like, do I know how to do this? Do I still know how to do this? Can I do this? Yes. And I literally was like, I'm really scared. I'm like, or I'm really exhilarated. Let's go with that. I mean, I really had to go into that mindset, because, you know, it was 900 people in the audience. I hadn't been on stage. You know, they asked me to close the show. There was a lot of pressure. And I was like, you actually know how to do this. You do. You've done this a lot. You know how to do this. But it was a choice. Do you want to be freaked out, or do you want to be really eager around this? You know, because the body senses it the same way. It really does. But I will say, I mean, you know, and I know you do the same thing. I rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed and was prepped so that I knew I had covered all of my bases before I got on that stage.
I mean, what is that thing? Amateurs practice so they don't get it wrong, but like professionals practice so they, you know, it's like one of those things where like you practice enough to never get it wrong. Like, you know, the thing about rehearsal is that it's really practice. And the idea about practice goes into every large, you know, profession that we say people should be doctors and lawyers. It's doctors, medicine, and law are practices.
Yes, they are. They are medical practices. Exactly.
Right. So we have to kind of like dial this language back in and say, okay, if the things that save lives and keep the world structured are practices, then probably our day-to-day is a practice too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And when I need to start, I don't know, do you have a daily practice? I need to get back into a daily creative practice. I mean, I have a daily, you know, writing practice. I've been doing morning pages, you know, that thing since 1994. Amazing. Well, I will also say this: if I die, burn them. Everyone has permission. It's not like, you know, they say, oh, and we did, you know, we donated her papers to the University of whatever, so we could all live on her insights. And like, no, there's nothing to it. It's just a brain dump of like, you know, it's just getting it out of my head. But it's sort of and then it can also be a written meditation as well. I mean, it's kind of a written prayer, but you know, it's the thread that holds things together, the day together. But I would like to start a dedicated daily creative practice, even if that's just, I don't make visual work anymore, like to be in a gallery. I make visual work for me. I made, you know, these things that are behind me. And I did that because a friend of mine asked me to be a part of a visual art group. And during COVID, they were all getting together. And I said, I haven't made visual work in 12 years. He said, Tricia, that's okay. Just start making 10,000 circles. I'm like, okay. But I want to get back into that habit of just doing something with my hands every day, because it makes me a nicer person. What is your daily practice? What do you do every day?
Well, I really tried for a long time to like structure my day, you know, like be really rigid, like, you know, micro scheduling, and I need to do this and this. And I realized, you know, later on that I was getting so frustrated, and my body was getting frustrated because I've been moving since I was 9.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not even a practice of I want to move to make something. I have to move to understand actually what's happening in my mind, body, heart, soul, and spirit. Like I can't get to me if I'm not moving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a dual practice now of like, it is physical, but it's also mostly spiritual and psychological, because things come out of my body when I'm dancing around and I'm like, oh, that's how I really feel. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Right. And, in this day and age, right, where we have like a screen for everything and a camera at every moment, I get to watch it back and be like, oh, I didn't know what to say. Oh, wow. Like, that's really interesting. Right.
Yeah. And you know what? Let me just put myself in check. I'm starting to have a daily practice.
Yeah.
What I'm starting to do, I hated being on social media because it felt like I was marketing I didn't like it. And then I reframed it. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm just doing little tiny moth stories and little tiny TEDx's. I'm just telling little tiny stories.
Yeah.
Then it's fun.
Yes.
And so I just started this in July, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I'm doing these things called manifesto minutes. So I take something from the manifesto, I do a little story. But those are starting to feel like a daily practice because I learned about myself. I'm going to a wonderful coach named Macy Robeson, and she did this assessment on me, this archetypal assessment thing. And one of the categories is resonant orator. And, if you're a 30 or a 40%, that's kind of, they start paying attention. I'm a 77% resonant orator. I know myself. You know yourself by dancing. I know myself if I say it out loud. That's the only thing I know. That's why my memoir didn't get picked up. I tried to write it.
Right.
I need to tell it, transcribe it, make some edits.
Yes.
I am so verbal all the time. And so I'm starting to understand that and go, if I don't say it out loud, I don't know it. I don't even know it exists. I don't know what I think. I don't know. It drives my husband nuts because, he's a man of few words. And I'm like, and then, blah, 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 so this is why I have a lot of friends in my orbit. So I stay married.
Yes.
So I don't.
I'm just learning. So I'm getting married in a couple months, but I'm just learning that. I'm just learning that, Tricia, that he is not the one that needs to hear everything.
Oh, no.
And he doesn't want to. And trying to pretend that he's into what I'm into is not going to be good.
No. So we figured that out. It was like, because he works in an office all day long and I'm by myself. I have meetings. I'm going to do what I talk to people, but I'm not, so if he walks in the door and I haven't had a conversation face to face with somebody during the course of the day, look out, so I will literally lead. I love our librarian in our small little town. I'll go in and go, I have to talk to someone before Eric comes home. Because if not, I'll be like, I have all this buildup of,
Yeah, no, it's important. And I think, again, right, like knowing yourself well enough to not take it personally, like that the person you're spending the rest of your life with doesn't want to hear about the book you're reading.
Well, and I can have more feelings. I think I've had more feelings this morning than he's had in the past month.
Yeah.
I just way I am, I am all, he is black and white. I am all gray. It's, I'm not entirely sure how we ended up together. We've been together for 28 years, and we are not bored. But there has been some communication challenges. But the more I get to know myself, the easier the marriage is.
Yes.
Because I'm like, oh, this is what I need. He doesn't need that at all. This is what I need.
Right.
And I need to make sure I get that tended to, or that, so that's why I have a very big circle of friends and,
it's important.
It is.
Because you have to feed all your parts. I think that's another thing that people, if they're courageous enough to make the transition out of a life they've been tolerating into a life that they would really love, is that you still have to feed all your parts. So if you were like this executive and you were, busy, you still got to make yourself busy in a different way if that feels normal for you, right?
Yeah.
But the busy becomes a different type of work. Like you're saying, creativity is just now coming into the creative economy as a viable trait, right? As a soft skill, like all the ways that we're teaching people to think in different ways. But if you're like, someone like you or I, or, someone who again was like, oh, I'm going to undergrad for dance and business. And people were like, what are you going to do with that? That's crazy. Like all of these things, they were like, get out of here, but I was talking to one of my best friends about this the other day. Being the weirdo for so long makes life so much easier later, when you get to be an adult. Like,
oh yeah.
You're like, people are like, why are you walking around with tights on? I'm like, I'm going to class. They're like, what class is that? This is like in the 90s in college, people were like, dance is a major. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like talking to people and having that kind of duality of I could be the cool girl when I change my clothes. Knowing how that right there was like costumes have impact.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I do. And it's just, I just think I was really compartmentalized for a long time. And now I'm doing a much better job at integrating everything. Yeah. And that makes it just easier. Yeah. It's like, I would go down to Tampa, Florida, which is where I was born and raised.
Yeah.
And I would try to be like them. I just really would, and it just, and what I would try to be like them and have these conversations. And at night I would come home and I would watch all my friends telling stories on the moth. Like, those are my people. These are the people, these. And I remember having my husband, I don't have children, right thing. That's just how it panned out.
Yeah.
And I can remember my sister's daughter had a grandbaby. And I was like, oh, not only do I have children, now I'm not going to have grandchildren either. That's interesting. And my mother was going on and on about this new grandbaby and all this stuff. Or great grandbaby in her mind. And I was just going, oh, what? I was just feeling like smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue, my friend David Crabb, who lives in California, is an improv with the Groundlings. He's one of the most creative person I know.
Yeah.
Calls me up and goes, hey, you were just on my mind, and starts texting me. And so I was like, oh my God, this, it completely restored me because I was talking with somebody who understood why I would think rust mattered. You know what I mean? Like, look at this beautiful rust. And have you seen the short story? And because so now I just go home and I'm like, okay, you just had a grandchild. I just did a TED Talk.
Yeah.
This is what I do. Here's the impact, and not try to, it's just like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
It's good, it's bad, whatever. I don't know.
But it goes back to this other idea that everything is neutral until you give it a value.
Yes.
Right. Everything, right? A grandchild equals a TED Talk. First of all, shout out to TEDx, shout out to the Moth for putting both of us in creative spaces where we could see people and see our lives bigger, right? You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Those platforms have also given rise to the everyday creative, the everyday intellectual, the everyday thought leader. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
In ways that other hierarchical forms have not.
Yeah. And so, and that's for me, even with my podcast, I always say, I've had some major talents on my show or some big names, but mostly I like to say it's major talents who are not household names. And so it's not, the star of Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
It's the writer on the Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
Who happened to leave this little town of Francistown and in her mid 40s and go, I'm going to LA and I'm going to be a writer. And she'd done all of it. Her name was Hillary Graham. She'd done all of this work for 20 years in the woods of New Hampshire and said, I'm going to go and I'm going to see if I can make this thing work. And she did. And it was great. And so those are the kinds of people I'm fascinated with, is the ones, and they're not overnight successes because they've been doing stuff for 20 years,
Correct.
But they finally got the attention or the accomplishment or, and I'm fascinated with the people who just, so much of our work, Christal, is stamina.
Oh yeah. Stamina, consistency. Yes, definitely.
It's stamina and it's consistency. And with that consistency really brings excellence in your craft, and so that, that's going back to, like we said earlier, like that's the That's the beauty of a simple life.
Yeah. To be able to recognize your practice, have space to practice, and then bring that gift to the world as you refine it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's the new manifesto.
I don't know what to do about the manifesto because I keep learning stuff and going, I could have like a 3-page manifesto right now. So I have to, if you have any thoughts on what to do about that.
You know, my book was published, Tricia, honestly, and it's a 30-day devotional called Steps and Stories. But I had the same, same overwhelm that you did. It was like, okay, how do I get it all in there? And it was like, well, no, it's not a memoir. It's a devotional, and it has some questions for people to ask, and like it like has some stories. Like it's 30 stories about my life. I say it's not really a how-to. Some of it is a how not to do. But there's some questions in there for you to ask and answer about your own life, right? So because the formats of some of these things don't fit the real, I think, impact that they could have. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe offline we can do a little conversation about what do I do about this 10-step manifesto and how do I did, but that's typical though. Everything evolves. That's what the creative process does. Everything's evolved. I mean, I did that one woman show, and this probably happened with your devotional, what it looked like in the beginning, what it ended up being completely, I mean, it wasn't completely different, but it had evolved. It was different. It was a stronger piece, and it went through so many variations, and that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, and
nothing is stagnant. Stagnant gets me the willies, man.
Yeah.
I just makes me just want to I start to
I think I guess part of my manifesto also is like perfect doesn't exist.
No.
What I mean? So like literally we put this devotional out. People are like, oh, I got to this page and I think it had some typos. I was like, yes, because at that point, me and the editor, I was like, I can't read it again. I'm not going to keep crying over this thing. Just take it. I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care. Like if people get hung up on a typo, they're missing the point.
Yeah. No, I know. It's we can be, what is it? Perfect is the enemy of the good.
Yes. Yeah. So well, Tricia, I love talking to good Southern girls. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Back at you. Yes.
Today. I mean, you are far from timid. You do have a big personality. Thank God. Because how else would some of us even benefit from your gift? You know what I mean?
You and I share that personality. So this is why this is a very, it's a delightful banter and exchange because, I need to be spending more time with you. I can cross over that Vermont state line and we can have a cup of coffee. That would be nice.
Easy. Thank you so much again for coming. Any last words you have for the Steps and Stages audience? Let us know where to find your podcast. We'll put all that information underneath here. And if people want to get in touch with you or keep following, they want to tune into your podcast, let's let them know where to do it.
Okay, so if you go to triciaroseburt.com, and that is TRICIA, you can find everything about me. I mean, you can find No Time to Be Timid is the podcast. It's on Spotify and Apple. We're actually launching season 5 in September.
Okay.
Yep. But there are plenty of older episodes to listen to. And I'm also dropping episodes right now that are just me, solo cast, not the guest episodes yet. So No Time to Be Timid is the podcast. TriciaRoseBurt.com is the website. And then that's where you can follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram as Tricia. If you just put Tricia Rose Burt in, I will show up.
Good job. Love you, Tricia. Thank you so much.
Christal, oh my gosh, blessings on everything you do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching. There is no time to be timid to get to a life you love. So if there's something or someone you need to connect with today, just take a small step in the right direction. And by right, we mean right for you. We love you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.